In this video, we're going to work on creating 3 timescale charts here, and the core issue was if you would duplicate the code that I provide you and you duplicate it, you might experience, if you have multiple charts, errors that some of the charts are not showing up. Why this is, we're going to explore that right now in this video, because this is quite important that you might miss out. In this video, we'll focus on the question how to have multiple timescale charts on a page in Chartjs. And this question came from one of the viewers on my other video. So on my other video here about how to use timescales and how to enter date and time in Chartjs. So in here, Philippe Clement asked the following. Thank you. But so it's a quite long text, so to make it short, basically he's indicating the following here. So he's indicating he's creating the chart, but he has multiple charts here. So that's what he's saying here. In the second script that I copied from the first one, and just below the first one, I redefined a config in a new config2 object, and I use the same data variable built in the first script, and this is okay. And the second chart is displayed similar to the first one, but if I redefine another data object called data2 with same values as the first one, the second chart doesn't display anymore. Alright, so let's explore what is going on here. So I assume something must be probably not right in the settings. So it could be many things, but maybe there's a real bug in Chartjs. If there is, well, you found one here. But let's try to explore what's going on here, just to be sure. Alright, first thing what we're going to do is we're going to copy in chartjs3.com getting started. Just go to this specific link here. We copy this code. Once you copy this code, and if you want to understand what is going on here, please check out this video here. We're going to paste this in here, and once I paste it in there, I'm going to just cut out this title, put it in here.
Power off.
And, alright, sorry, that was my Bluetooth. Alright, so once we have that, then you can see here we have a bar chart, so that works. So now what we want to do is we want to basically get the other chart. So we want to have 2 or 3 or 4 charts here, but they are all timescale charts. First of all, let's start to create a timescale chart. To do this, we need to have a specific code here. To get that code, go to here to chartjs.org, click on the ecosystem. Once you click on this, you get to the awesome section of Chartjs, which is basically all the plugins, adapters, etc., etc. So what we need here is basically the adapters. In the adapter section, we can select one of the others. I highly recommend you not to use moments.js. This has been outdated. Go for one of the others here. So I'm going to use the upper one, date-fns, which when you want loxon or date-fns, doesn't matter. So we scroll down here, and then basically what we need is this specific item here. This is the JavaScript file. Make sure it is the .js file. If there's no .js, it is basically a file that can give you an error, and then you will struggle while you do everything correct. You don't understand what's going on. But the issue is it cannot read a file without the .js, especially if you're working here from a JavaScript or just a basic HTML that I'm doing here as well. So very important. Alright, so once we did this, what we need to do here is basically paste this JavaScript, which is the adapter for the date-fns. This here must be loaded after the Chartjs. Why? This is a dependency of this one here, so it's dependent on whatever loads here above. This is why. Alright, once you save this, you go back here, refresh, there we are, we have this. So now we have nothing fancy, we still have everything same, but now let's start to adjust it to a proper Chartjs with the timescale. So to do this, we need to go here to the axis, and then we go here to the, let me double check here, is that the Cartesian, and then we have here the time Cartesian axis. That's the one we need. And in here we have to do some adjustments. We have here a few items, you can ignore this, and all we need is basically this one here. Let's see, we can indicate here first of all, that is a correct adapter. Let me double check. Where are we? It's the time unit. All right, basically in here, the type, this we can just copy this one here. That would make far more sense. So what we need to do is here is on the X scale. So in the X scale here, we have to first indicate basically the type of scale. So what is a type of scale? Well, in our case, it's a time. And with the time, you can also identify the unit, basically the time unit. You specify time, then here you have the object of time. Then you can put in here the unit, and the unit could be all of the above here. As you can see here, time. This is the namespace for the time. Time.unit. All right. So I just copy this one, and I'm going to change this to day. As in day, we can do in hours, but day would be fine, more than enough. So in here, we have the time, comma. Then we say time object, and then in here, the unit, and the unit will be day. So if I save this right now, make sure you have a comma here as well, and comma afterwards for the x-axis section or object. Then we go back here, refresh. Now you see there's an adjustment happening, but this adjustment of course is not yet done because we need to have now our values, and our values are not in the right structure. All right, so what I'm going to do here is again break it down, put in this here, delete all of this, and of course here we don't need these labels anymore. Here we can just put it here, and what we will do here is the Y, which indicates immediately the Y scale value, and this could be anything we want to put in. Let's put in here, since we're working with the day, we can put in the day value here. We have to do it like this, and then we say August, and then August 10. All right, so that's the first one, 2021, August the 10th. And then for the Y value, we put in here a number. We can put in here number 10. All right. What I'm going to do is now, I'm going to duplicate this multiple times. Make sure you have a comma here. So we're going to duplicate this. We have here 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. There we are. Delete one of the commas. If I save this now, I should expect an adjustment. All right. So what is happening right now? It's duplicating, but it's duplicating on top of each other because they have all the same value here. Let's change this. All right, and then I will change this as well. Make this 5 to 5, 7, 8, 10. All right, refresh. There we are. So we have random numbers here now. All right, this works. So the issue was if we duplicate this again, this entire chart, it doesn't show. All right, to make sure, if we have this, I'm going to copy the entire code again, paste this in here, and then we have to do a few items here. So first of all, I'm going here in this chart box menu here, but we go, sorry, this one here in the canvas, we're going to put a canvas below. Let's put a break here so there's some space between. Paste this, and I will give this a name of my chart number 2. All right, this is very important because it's another canvas that we're working with. So this is the second one because we duplicated the code. So this will be my chart number 2. That's the ID. We can give this appropriate number 2 as well. And now you get here the config. All right, so this config will be connected to this, but I want to make sure this will be different. So this will be referenced to this. And I think I already figured out the issue. It just pops up as well. I'm going to explain to you why. This is probably what I repeat this, but I realized that in my default code here, I have that in this video covered. But now if you always copy paste this, and this is the reason why you have an issue. But let me validate the issue here. All right, so I'm going to save this first. And we have all of this. All right, this works fine. Surprisingly, I was expecting that this might be an issue, but I will explain more. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to change here the size of the chart. Just put it on 400. And I do a padding of 10 only. That will be more than enough. So we have 2 of these items. All right. So we have this here. I'm going to change this data. So I'm surprised it works here. So if it works here, it could be and it doesn't show up in your item. It could be your ID here, and if not, I think this will be the real issue. We're going here, and then this is the reason why I'm using like here data comma. All right, so we have this here and we have this one here. If I would do here data comma 2, and I'll save this, let's see what happens. You have this issue. The issue here is this part here. So I'm going to explain to you, this is Es6. Very important to remember. Es6 allows you to use shorthands. So this is the issue. Es6 shorthands. Alright. Reason why this happens is basically this. What is a shorthand? So in Es6 in JavaScript, we are allowed to use an object with a shorthand. If data equals data like this, we are allowed to shortcut this with a comma. I explained this in this specific video here, where I break it down and how I explain that. There was this video here specifically. So this is the reason why it has an error, because it doesn't read the data here, because the data object is now not searching for the object of data, no, because basically this is what you're saying. With this comma here, it says this. What you're now saying, if you're going to do this, you will say data2 search for data2. But what you really want to do is data, this data object, please search for data2. And this is your issue here. Alright, so this is the issue, and the solution is basically you have to write it out completely. You are not allowed to use the shorthand if this is different. The constant must be identical here, and apparently for Chartjs for the config, this is allowed, but if you're not sure, you can just do config 2. Config number 2. That is fine as well. It's one or the other. But for data, this is not allowed to do. And this is probably your reason. If I save this right now, or let's see if it works. Alright, gives an error here, because this must be really config 2. Or this must be really the way how I did it. There's only this one here is our issue. Save, refresh, there you are. So let's validate if this is really true. So what I'm going to do here in my data2, I'm going to change here weekly sales, weekly cost. And now I'm going to change this here to 7777777, and change this from, well, make this 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then here I want to change this as well. Let's make this 50, and then I'm going to do here 40, 30, 20, 10. This will be 8, and here find 1. If I save this now, there you are. You can see we have 2 data points here, completely different, and this is your issue. So we could even try it again. Let's duplicate this. Most likely that's your issue. I'm going to duplicate it again. Another break. Put it in here. ID 3. Alright. And then we're going to copy this. And I'm going to paste this in here. Make this number 3. Number 3. Here, data must be 3. Yeah, the Es6 shorthand. Remember this one. This is an item that I explained before very often when I was always breaking down the sections. Now I started to assume that everyone started to know this, so that's why I double check that one if you want to understand this. But that's your issue, most likely. Alright, so here cost, and I say profit, just to be sure. Do we have another one? And then I'll make here just simple 50. I'll make this 10, 50, 10, 50, 10, 50. Alright. We can even change the color here just to make sure that this is really accurate. Alright, save this. Oh, alright, we get an error here. Alright, reason right here for the error, comma. Make sure you have a comma. Refresh. There we are. We have now all of these. And I see here, of course, we still have the same one because data 3 is still not being recognized here. Data 3 is here. Data 3. Alright. The config here, config, there should be number 3. So config number 3 has the connection of data trees. There we are. Colors, everything exactly as I was expecting. So this is the issue. Core issue, shorthand, Es6 shorthands. I guess these shorthands can be dangerous in demo purposes, so maybe I should remove them, or maybe I just notify it again consistently. However, this is your issue. Solve this and all your charts will work again. Another video I would highly recommend, if this was interesting and maybe you're planning to use multiple charts on your page, check out this one on how to resize the chart and maintain the aspect ratio in Chartjs. So basically with this you can modify the chart itself, especially if you have multiple charts. You can show them nicely on your page. I'll make sure that there's a link showing up on the screen right now.